Hello and welcome to Bimblism. I am your resident Bimblist Kieran, and today's Bimble is entitled the Woollyback Loop. So for those not in the know, what is a woollyback? According to people from Liverpool, anyone from the areas that border Liverpool are called woolly-backs. And this is apparently because we wear a lot of sheepskin coats, or at least I'm guessing we did in the 1970s. So you join me here on National Cycle Route 62, the Transpennine Trail, by the banks of the River Mersey, on the road that leads to a chemical works, at the back of somewhere called Morley Common. And this is where we're going to start our Bimble. It's a 15-mile loop, and it's going to take in 3 woollyback towns: Warrington, where we are now, Runcorm, then Widnes, back to Warrington. Only a big massive loop. Let's Bimble. This is Moor Lane Swing Bridge, and this is the Manchester Ship Canal. The Manchester Ship Canal was opened by Queen Victoria in 1894, and it apparently cost £15 million, which in today's money would be around about £2.1 billion. It's 36 miles long, and it sort of navigates in and around the River Mersey from Eastham on the Wirral to Salford near Manchester. If you're lucky enough and you time your Bimble exactly right, you might even see some boats coming through. At least 2 boats come through every day. There's also a tour from Liverpool that costs about 45 quid. You can have a nice day out on a boat that's got a bar, and I think it serves food as well. But you know, muddy old tracks and bikes, they're free. Down in that direction is Moor Nature Reserve, which is a really nice place, but that's for another video. On with the Bimble.
Thoughts on your mind all the time, oh it's deafening. You still won't figure it out. protest all you like. We both know with goodwill on your side and a little time, you can have just what you like. We both know things could be easy if you just try. You'd be better off this time. Have it your own way if you like. Things could be easy if you just try. I know you heard every word, every line, but you're missing it. Why won't you figure it out? Figure it. I know I talk really loud, if you heard, oh it's deafening. You still won't figure it out. Figure it. But with a simple frame of mind and a little time, you can protest all you like. We both know with goodwill on your side and a little time, you can have just what you like.
This is the Mersey crossing at Wigg Island, and this building is owned by United Utilities, and I imagine it's access to some pipe work that goes underneath the River Mersey, which is only here. And if you look over in the distance, there's another identical building, only without the nice graffiti on it. And I think that there's a link between these two buildings. There's not a lot of information about it online. In fact, there's no information. I had a quick Google search, nothing came up. But there's been a Mersey crossing here since about the 12th century. And apparently the monks from Norton Priory, which is over in that direction, used to use this area to cross over the Mersey themselves. This is Wigg Island. Now, the misleading thing about the name Wigg Island is that, one, it's not actually an island, it's actually a man-made peninsula. Yes. Before the Manchester Ship Canal was built, it was called Astmore Salt Marsh. And then a man called Charles Wigg bought the land in between the Manchester Ship Canal and the Mersey and decided to make a chemical works there. And that chemical works used to get copper from copper ore. And it did that, and I'm guessing a lot of other really dangerous chemical processes there up until the 1960s. And then in the 1960s it fell derelict. It was like that for 40 years. It was just an old factory, empty, filled with dangerous chemicals like mustard gas and things like that. And I'm guessing it became a bit of a dumping ground for waste and people fly tipping, that kind of thing. And then 40 years afterwards, they decided to make it into a nice nature reserve. They cleaned it up, got rid of all the nasty stuff. I'm guessing buried a lot of stuff there. And now it's a nature reserve with bird hides and picnic areas and cycle tracks. I wouldn't pick the blackberries from there. It's a nice place to go.
Love grown consumed, and you know let it go. You'll find in time, I'll never let it go. You'll find it's right. I'll only ever know how to speak my mind. I'll only ever know how to speak my mind. To me it was a long mistake. To me it was a golden handshake to reapply those lazy arms in my heart. To you it was a dream it mended. To you it was a dream suspended. To relocate right from the break to the start. Over time, clouds kept the light from those eyes. Still, love grown consumed. And you know, I'll never let it go. You'll find in time, I'll never let it go. You'll find it's right. I'll only ever know how to speak my mind. I'll only ever know how to speak my mind. Over time, clouds kept the light from those eyes. Still, love grown consumed. And you know, I'll never let it go. You'll find in time, I'll never let it go. You'll find it's right. I'll only ever know how to speak my mind. I'll only ever know how to speak my mind. My mind.
Behind me is the Silver Jubilee Bridge, or as it's known around here, the Runcorm Bridge, and it's painted this delicious Nan's toilet green, or is it copper oxide? Maybe it's a nod to Charles Wigg and his copper factory, I don't know. It was opened in 1961 and it stands 80 feet above the Manchester Ship Canal. Apparently it cost £2.5 million. It's got a similar design to the Sydney Harbour Bridge actually, in that it's a one single span with this archway across the top. It was built to replace a transporter bridge that stood here, and where we stood now is one half of the run-on ramp. The other half is over the Silver Jubilee Bridge over there.
Easiest to make. Aim for the stars, it's yours, just wait. You do your best along the way. But it's those arms that told me I don't care if it's yours or mine. Without you, it's just a waste of time. You showed me from the start, such inspirations need a heart to bring you round. Big aspirations need a heart to hold you down. Though some get lost along the way, as sure as night designed the day, as long as I'm allowed to say, it's my heart that told me I don't care, you just disagree. Without you it wasn't meant to be. You showed me from the start such inspiration. say what you like. I'm a peace-loving person, but I know I'm right. It's as easy as right from wrong. I'm a lover, not a fighter, so I wrote this song. You showed me.
This is the original on-ramp for the Transporter Bridge. In 1905 when it was made, it was the first in the UK. It was also the largest in the world. It's very similar to the Middlesbrough Transporter Bridge and also the Transporter Bridge in Warrington, which we'll have a sneak glimpse of at the end of this loop. It took 2 minutes and 30 seconds to cross over from here in Widnes to over there in Runcorn, and it was 300 metres across. This stone building here now is now a grade 2 listed building, and as a sneaky little fact, if you follow me, this will be speeded up in post.
From the start, such inspirations need a heart to bring
You can get down here for a sneaky look at the Mersey. Through this deliciously tiled tunnel. When the tide's down, you can actually get onto the banks of the Mersey. I imagine it'd be a pretty good place to come mudlarking, as a lot of, things will have been dropped in the mud over the years. Back up the ramp and check my bike hasn't been robbed.
So I wrote this song, you showed me from the start. Such inspirations need a heart to bring you round. It could be yours. Big aspirations need a heart to hold you down. From the start, such inspirations need a heart to bring you round.
This is Wigg Island, and it sits between the St Helens Canal and the River Mersey, and it's the former location of a chemical works. Yep, everything in Warrington, Widnes and Runcorm is a former chemical works. Now it's a lovely green space. In the 1980s, after the works fell into disuse, just like at the Wigg works, they turned it into this nice green space for you to walk your dog and ride your bike. There's still some remnants of it being a chemical works. There's some kilns that used to make sulfuric acid, and there's an old building over there that's been turned into a museum called the Catalyst Museum. It's very interesting. It tells you all about the chemical past of Warrington, Widnes and Runcorn. And it's good for kids because they've got loads of hands-on things to do there, things where you press buttons and move stuff. Music fans will recognise the name Wigg Island, as in 1990 it was the location for the famous Stone Roses gig. Noel Gallagher said that the sound was rubbish.
Washed in clean by a riverside. They told you the news. Kept so cold in the blackest tide. If only you knew. I've heard what they've said, ignored what I read, and looked to the bright side. So here's to the bad times, forgotten in good lights. ignored what I read, and looked to the bright side. So here's to the bad times, forgotten in good lives. I won't let you down. I won't let you down. I'll take off my shoes and dance to the good news. Broken smiles, but they will turn it round.
This is Fiddlers Ferry Power Station, opened in 1971, closed in March of 2020. When this was running, it took in 195 million litres of water a day, as well as 16,000 tonnes of coal. Fiddlers Ferry Power Station is the reason why Fiddlers Ferry has 2 Ds in its name. When they first built the power station and they made all the signs pointing to it, they added a D that wasn't there before. So now on all maps prior to the power station, Fiddlers Ferry would have 1 D, and after the power station they have 2 Ds.
I won't let you down. I won't let you down. I'll take off my shoes and dance to the good news. Broken smiles, but they will turn it round. So take off your shoes and dance to the good news. Take off your shoes and dance to the good news. So here's to the bad times, forgotten in good lives. I won't let you down. I won't let you down. I'll take off my shoes and dance to the good news. Broken smiles, but they won't turn it round. So take off your shoes and dance to the good news. Take off your shoes and dance to the good news. Take off your shoes and dance to the good news.
This is Fiddlers Ferry Marina, as you can see. Boats. This is the location I was pointing to earlier on in the video, where those monks would have their ferry service to. Those cheeky monks would have a ferry service all the way here to a pub, the Ferry Tavern. She's quite handy on this route for a drink, although it doesn't open till 4 o'clock, which is a nuisance because it's only 2:30. From here we end up back where we started. So for the final time this video, let's bimble.
Paled in the moon, she turned black eyes to mine. Hands turned to ice, they froze and they gripped around mine. Skin thickened every time, I still feel a current flow. I like the warming feeling that it is. I don't want this to go. You can only decide for yourself. You can make up your mind. No one else, I can give you some time. If it helps these things along, just as long as it's me that you want. Distracted from the stars, eyes are dazzled in their charm. To hesitate to wait for a face to look upon.
Well folks, that's it. 15 miles, 3 towns, a magnificent Bimble, if I do say so myself. Lots of fun, and all that's left to say now is if you enjoyed the video, subscribe. If you'd like to know when I've made more videos, press the bell icon down below. And for the meantime, get bimbling. See you later.